I opened another stream. Don't know. But figuring it out. Hey, Mystery. What's up, Spy in the Sky? Yeah, I tried on my laptop, but I guess the built-in microphone is not working. So I have to use my cell phone. I have to figure out the microphone on the laptop. It says that it's on. What's up, Brian? Mystery. What's up, Flo? My lens is cracked. What's up, Upstate? But I was going to Lansingburg, like I said earlier tonight, but for some reason, it decided that it was going to pour. But tonight we'll just do a talk. What's up, Tammy? Texas GT. Busy getting a new job, then you gotta get a better one. Diving into very crunchy Cheetos. If you want a computer, I could sell you a computer. I do run a business with my brother. Buy and sell computers. We also fix them, do some programming, some editing, a little bit of everything. Here's a card. Operations member. Doing dishes. So, what do you guys want to talk about tonight? It's backwards. Let's see, we're going to figure this out. My card was backwards. Well, it's mirror image. Let's see. Can you read that? Troy Technologies, LLC. I have to do a stream off my phone. The laptop wasn't working for some reason. The microphone isn't. I was going to walk the streets, Flo, but for some reason it decided to rain. And I didn't know it was going to rain, but it is what it is. It's alright though. I guess we'll just sit and talk tonight. Alright, Flo, see you later. What's up, Nyart? So, it is open to anything you guys want to talk about tonight. I think this is maybe the second time ever I've showed my face. Hey Debbie, how you doing? Talk about Trump? Alright, let's talk about Trump. What do you think about him? Nah, it's Kodiak Wintergreen Salties in my Dunkin' Donuts cup. Trump is epic. God's chosen one. Well, I guess as Commander-in-Chief we gotta deal with them. Yeah, Nyard, I'm a spitter. I think I'm gonna quit though. I was doing the moist snuff, but I went to the pouches. I didn't like it in my teeth. I have a couple monitors set up over here, so we're working on a couple things. Just set my office up yesterday. Actually, late last night. I spit when I heard swallows. So juice? No. No swallowing over here. I'm trying to figure out how to delete this video now. It's not letting me. Keeps giving me an error, but we'll figure it out afterwards. Made in Texas, what's up? Actually, let's talk about Salty's video earlier. Let's see, I might be able to get some audio for you. Don't give up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Lou Stefano from the Salty brand, White Screen Edition. This is like my third revision of this video.
What's up, Boomer?
I just can't seem to find the words. I guess the message for today is don't give up. We all have dumb shit to deal with in our personal lives, whether you're getting your teeth pulled, you're getting your car in the body shop.
That's right,
you gotta go to the doctor's office, or you're having some kind of mechanical issue.
So, my buddy Lou,
whatever the case may be.
You guys know him as Salty Rant.
However,
He's a pretty stand-up guy. I know that a lot of people don't like him.
We all have shit in our daily lives.
Or they like to talk shit about him. But he also has a lot of followers. And that's because Lou always tells the truth. And that's why people don't like him.
Most of us have jobs we have to go to, and families we have to take care of. We always have bills we have to pay. And for those that are going out and doing audits, I've noticed a bit of a trend, and there's a guy named Mike Hartwell. He left a big, long paragraph on my live show from yesterday. And I pinned it,
So, Lou is a good guy. We're going to put that out there. I know a lot of people say he's a troublemaker, but Lou is just a funny guy. If you can't take his humor, then you don't need to be watching him. Upstate, what's going on, dude? Dishes are done. What's up, Tay? One of the topics I will talk about, I know I kind of touched on in a couple earlier videos when I first started, and I talked about it a little bit the other night, but Admiralty Maritime Law and Common Law. There's a lot. What's up, Mystery? There's a lot that people don't know about that goes on in the courts, where if they knew, they would understand that a lot of these tickets that they get, even though they're very common tickets, they're bogus. The police constantly, and the courts, they hold you under Admiralty Maritime Law. That is a military tribunal. You as a citizen have the constitutional right to be held under common law. Common law has kind of been phased out, and that's because people don't understand the law. Common law is, in my belief, the only true way that people should be held accountable. I have convinced the judge. I did in Coxsackie, which is not too far from here. It's a little ways south. I went in there, actually representing my sister. And I had mentioned it before on someone else's video that you go in as a private attorney general. A private attorney general is not what you think it is. All it means is that you're representing yourself or someone else and you're protecting their constitutional rights, which the Supreme Court has already ruled in NAACP versus Button and Aaron's versus Sims that you have the right as a private citizen to go to court and represent somebody to uphold and protect their constitutional guaranteed rights. When you do this, you should always appear under special appearance. When you show up under special appearance, you're telling them that you know your name written on that bond or that docket in all capital letters is represent a corporation. You are there as beneficiary to that corporation. As beneficiary, which they always hold you as, that is why you end up paying fines or you end up doing jail time for petty crimes where there is no victim and there is no injury and you did not cause anyone any monetary damages. Common law says that if there is no injury, there is no victim, so there was no crime. That is why they hold you under Admiralty Maritime Law. Hey Wobbly, how you doing? If they were to always hold you under common law, which you should, and you have to demand they be held under common law, you know what happens every now and then. We'd like to hear more about or see details on your case. You know what, I'll talk to my sister about that and see if she will let me give out the details of her case. The reason why I decided to help her was her car was illegally searched. The sheriff said that her car was flagged. It was flagged because of something that her boyfriend did while using her car. So it really had nothing to do with her other than the registration was under her name. But common law says that as a private citizen, if you did not physically hurt somebody or cause them damage, you do not owe them anything. You did not commit a crime. Admiralty Maritime Law, which is supposed to only be used against members of the military, members of a regulated militia, federal officials, or enemy combatants arrested on a battlefield. It is why they have the gold fringe flag in the courtroom. It is telling you that you are no longer on American soil. That is why the United Nations courts fly a flag, and that is why the President of the United States, when he is out and about, flies the flag. It gives him authority to declare martial law. It gives him the authority to make executive orders, and it gives him the authority to suspend rights, but only if he has reasonable suspicion that something bad is going to happen, like an act of terrorism or a natural disaster. They hold you to these standards because the courts know, and the DA knows, and the prosecutors and all the police know that if they held you under common law, the cities will go bankrupt. All right, upstate. Pretty much the whole point of the police force now is for revenue generation, which we all know is considered racketeering once it is exposed. So does that mean that Blue ISIS is a gang or a terrorist organization? Because they arrest people and they kill people and they deprive you of your rights for their gain and due to their political views? Mom, been a little confused again better. That's good, Ty. So it's just something to think about. Anytime I go to court, I would demand the judge's oath of office, that is, bonding him to secure your constitutional rights and to not allow the prosecutor or anybody else in the court to violate your rights. The second step I would do is challenge a court's jurisdiction. When you challenge a court's jurisdiction, they cannot proceed until they prove it, but a court cannot give themselves jurisdiction over you. It has to come from a higher court, as in a federal court, or it can be handed down through Congress. And I understand that the statutory laws were put in place, but it is already known that if the laws violate your rights, which is your right to liberty and your free speech and the right to property and your pursuit of happiness, then those laws should be null and void. If you challenge a traffic court in a federal, if you challenge traffic courts and you take them to a federal court, your tickets will be dismissed because federal courts are held to common law. That is why most of these big civil rights cases and the big murder cases and whatnot end up in federal courts. The federal court can hold you under Admiralty Maritime law, but only when you deprive somebody of their right of life or the right to property, as in money or their physical properties. It's hot in here. I have a fan in here, but it's not doing much, and the window's open. Everybody, Mia, that's my wife. So it's just something to think about. I do not give legal advice, but it is something you should look into. Read the laws, read the Constitution, read on the common laws and not the Admiralty Maritime laws. Those laws are meant for merchants, as in you're considered dead in the sea once you pass that bar in the courtroom. They look at your body as a vessel. You are there as damaged property when you go into a court, and you are held there to question for any kind of crime or any kind of civil suit that may arise. So with that being said, is there any questions that you guys have on me, on my views? Love that name. When my wife said Warren AC, she's talking about my daughter too. Your legal advice is, if you're not a lawyer, don't give legal advice. Yeah, I don't give legal advice. I just present facts and my understandings of the laws, and I use them to the best of my ability, and to the best of my understanding, and I will always use them when I go to court. Go ahead, Salty. Hey, Gray. What's up, Rising Sun? Yeah, Upstate, look into it. I don't take legal advice from lawyers. I got lucky, Lou. Dare to Fair, how you doing? I got lucky. I had to snatch her off before anybody else did. It might have been the red beard, but we don't know. Kind of like a fishing lure, I guess. Also, guys, tobacco products are bad. Just because you're not smoking is not a safe alternative to cigarettes. Upstate, though, think about it this way. If more people knew about it and used it, you could change the way the courts work. I mean, the courts will be pissed off at us, but they will understand that we know that the courts are just as much of a fraud and corrupt as the police departments are now. And if you put it into retrospect, can't discuss laws and legal stuff and consenting conversation, then we'd rather have no freedom of speech. Well, like I say to myself, James Freeman, who? But when you think about it, though, the police act the way they do because they have to bring that money in for the courts. When you think about it, the mayor is in charge of the city. The mayor needs the money to run the city, so the courts are in place. The courts are in place because the police write tickets and they send you to the court in front of the judge so that he could determine how much money you are able to pay to the court so that they could give it to the city and to the mayor so they could continue their everyday activities. But if you think about it, if the police force had to be volunteer and the judges didn't get paid, how many traffic stops do you think they would make, and how many crimes do you think would go to a higher court? I know what they're doing about is crazy, and this may not work in Bao's case because he already exposed the court for what it was, and that's why they're shafting him right now. They're doing everything they can to keep him quiet, but Gunner is doing a good job taking care of him. It is, the state is organized crime. You're a ginger too, Tammy? It is crazy, but if you think about it, you gotta think of the cities and the towns kind of as like a mafia. They have the top people, which they all have to keep happy, and the only way to keep them happy is to keep the money flowing. They keep the money flowing through extortion. Extortion is the number one killer of society. That's what creates the divide between the average citizen and the police officer. I do too. I don't believe that ISIS will come here. I fear the police more than I fear ISIS. I don't see ISIS run around here with guns and arresting people. And ISIS, they may take people away, but the police can do it, and nobody will act out against them. You don't see the military declaring war on blue ISIS. That blue line that they put on that flag is a desecration to the flag. It's pretty much a gang symbol. And the police are trained. You can just have obscene. The police are trained to think that we are always a danger to them. Regardless if we are in a traffic stop, if we are walking down the street, or if we're standing behind them in line at a grocery store. We are the terrorists in the eyes of the police, but that is because they know that what they're doing is wrong, and the only way that anything will change is if people rise up against them, not necessarily with violence, but through actions, with laws, and through the courts. Our government did create ISIS and Al Qaeda. We funded them through military means to spread capitalism and democracy to fight communism, but at the same time, we're trying to destroy their own cultures in the Middle East. I believe that, which under common law, says that if they are not physically hurting anybody, that these other countries with their own cultures should be allowed to exist. That's what makes the world great. That's why you can have so many different religions and so many different types of government without complete chaos. The United States, being a police state and trying to police the world, what they're doing is they are really just hurting and destroying other cultures, but that's for a different conversation. They can claim they're there to help us just to find you a criminal. That's exactly right. And we helped Bin Laden fight the Russians in the 80s, and after the Russians were kicked out, we went there for the oil. We went there for the money, and if you think about, like in Africa, the blood diamonds, it's blood oil. That's all it's about. And Bush had stakes in some very, very high profitable oil countries in the Middle East. And the whole point of going there was to protect his assets, not necessarily protect the people. Those people have lived like that for hundreds of years in their own societies, and they flourish on their own, like the Iranian Republic or Saudi Arabia. You got Dubai and Qatar. These countries, they have flourished, and they actually have really smart scientists and stuff too. It's not just the white countries, the European countries, or the Asian countries. That's right, Salty. We got beat up and kicked out. But that's because you might be able to defeat an army, but you can't defeat an idea. There will always be more people to step up and take their spot. Hey, Dragonfly, how you doing? Is there any other topics you guys want to talk about? Eggman, what's going on? I know that some of you guys have seen my videos asking the police about their war on drugs. I believe that the war on drugs is just a way to make money and to extort people that actually need help. They should be in rehab, non-prison. If you send someone that's using drugs to prison, all you're doing is making them a better criminal, and you're making them fear the police even more, because they fear that the withdrawal that they will go through if they get sent to prison will be worse than anything else that they can experience on the street. I mean, don't get me wrong, the war on drugs, if they used it as in their programs and educating children and the public on the dangers of drugs and overdoses, then the war on drugs may be a good thing. But if you're just kicking in doors, arresting people, and lying about warrants, all you're doing is you're hurting the people, and you're hurting the trust between the people and the police department. I know I talked to a sergeant last night about it, and he did agree with me that sending people to jail is not the best thing and that rehab is a better course of action. But when you end up going after drug dealers, you always end up catching some of the drug addicts with them. But it's all about the money. And you may not believe it, but our government is involved in drug trafficking, and they're bought by pharmaceutical companies. If you were to destroy the pharmaceutical industry, then you would have way less addiction. All the Oxycontin and the hydrocodone and the Lazepams and everything like that, that leads to addiction. Because what happens is, if the insurance companies cut them off, the drugs are too expensive for them, but they're already hooked on it. That's why they go to the heroin and the methamphetamines. But I believe if they, what's up, phone bomb? How you doing? I believe if they legalize marijuana and make that the drug that people use to end their pain, or helps end seizures too, that the pharmaceutical companies will go under, which it can help bring an end to the war on drugs. But nowadays, anything is a drug. Caffeine is a drug. Tobacco products is a drug. So it's really up to the person's mindset if they are strong enough to overcome it, and how long they've been using and how strong their addiction is. Mito made a good video about internet bullying. I'll have to check it out. But at the end of the day, the world will only get better when people wake up and realize that some police are on our side. I'll give it to them. There are some good police out there, but the police are only there for profit and for revenue and racketeering. If they were to decide that they weren't going to write tickets, the officers would lose their jobs. And they say that there's not a quota system, but we all know that there is a quota system. The strong drugs we have today are brought about by the war on drugs. Sentences are based on quantity. It's safer to have a stronger drug that allows you to have a smaller amount. That is true. That is very true. Fentanyl is a big thing right now. Steal your soul. Gingers don't have souls. The war on drugs, what it is it's just a way for money to be brought in and for the United States to stay under a constant time of war. That's what allows the government to function. If we were not in a state of war and they had to take down that gold fringe flag, then they would be forced into common law. Admiralty Maritime law would not exist because that is only for time of war. They become too powerful and millions are stuck in the bread and circuses. That is true, mystery. I don't do Facebook either, phone bomb. For those of you that have been to court, which I know most of us have, whether it's a traffic court or some petty crime, go in there and look at that gold fringe flag next time. And think about why that flag has a gold tassel on it, and ask the judge about it. They will do everything they can to not speak about that flag. And once you demand they take it down, you're telling them that you know that you are in the wrong courtroom. Manhandled? That's right, Stephen. That's exactly it. Once they declare war on anything, what they're doing is they found a way that they can make money off of it, and they're not willing to let it go. Don't judge me, Lou. I believe the only solution to the problems is non-consent. Civil war will bring another tyranny. Voting is fully and giving direct consent. Not consenting actually strips them of their legitimate power. That is true. When you go in and you challenge the judge's jurisdiction and the court's jurisdiction, you are stripping the judge of the power. You're telling them that you know that they are only a clerk. Some judges will try to proceed, but they're proceeding illegally. They may try to hold you in contempt of court, but you can always challenge that too, and you can have it dismissed and thrown out. What you have to do is file a federal injunction, and when you do that, or when you mention that you will do it on the judge, then they know that sanctions are coming and they're going to lose their job. Here's another thought for you guys. You ever thought about why the judge has a bar card and why the prosecutor has a bar card and why your public defender or your public pretender has a bar card? It's because they're all a member of the same club. The bar, that's all it is a club. You pay dues to be in the club. So, you not being a member of the club, why would they do anything for you? They are all there to make money. They all make money when you get convicted of a crime or when you plead out to a crime. That's the way the system works. Up by the Canadian border in the real upstate. They can still use violence, but it is not authorized. It is Fallenbaum. It's a British club. That's actually part of it. The B in bar stands for British. The reason why lawyers won't even talk about challenging the jurisdiction and demand the judge's oath of office is if they do, they will lose their bar card and they will never be able to regain it. It's kind of in their waiver that they sign. They kind of silently agree that they will not speak of it and they will not use it. If they did, they'd be admitting that Admiralty Maritime law is not the real law and the real courts that you should be held in as a person. As a free person of the United States of America, like I've said plenty of times, common law is the only law that you should be held under. Anyone get mad when you have to hit the thumbs up and then you have to wait till you can get the check in? I used to hate that too. I figured out though, if I'm on my laptop, I don't have to do that. I can split the screen too if I have to. Is there any other topics you guys want to speak about? That's right, give me a thumbs up. Made in Texas, how have you been? Steven, ask your question again, I'll answer it right now. How did T-Rex hang under? That's a good question, Steve. Maybe it's like how the birds do it. They kind of just bite the neck and go for it, you know? Or maybe they only did it missionary. My sign, I'm Scorpio. I don't know, Steven. That's a good question, actually. How did a T-Rex hold on? Dino Cowgirl? Probably why they went extinct. It is possible, dude. It is very possible. Maybe the caveman beat them into extinction. So I do plan on expanding out of Troy and Albany, Cohoes, Green Island, Watervliet. North Troy is Lansingburg. I've walked through Lansingburg, but I haven't really done an audit out there, but it's the Troy police that patrol out there. Eventually, I want to go hit Rochester with Brian King and Boa SpongeBob. I think that'd be a lot of fun, but once I have funds, I'll do that. I don't get any donations to any of my videos. I haven't made a donation, not a single penny since I started. I would do Plattsburgh, but the funds, I have a 2-year-old and a pregnant wife, and we just moved, what, like 2 or 3 times in the last year, because the neighborhoods where we are real rough, and it's not really a place to raise a child, but we're working on it. Alright, good night, Mystery. Have a good night. Ogdensburg? It is. You know, it's a lot of fun. My daughter's a lot of fun. She's real smart, too. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She was a CNA and also a server, but when she got pregnant, we decided that she would be a stay-at-home mom, and that's why her 2-year-old is as smart as she is. And now with this one on the way, starts all over. Any other questions for me? This is an open chat. We can talk about anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be auditing. What's up, Teresa? How you doing? She's drooling on your face. See, that means you did a good job. She's already out. Another big thing. Play your news video. Lou, I haven't mastered getting video yet. I mean, I am on my cell phone now. The laptop kind of failed. I couldn't figure out the microphone, but I could do some audio of it. We'll do some audio of Salty's new video. Square root 12,345. Do a redneck. Let's see, we'll bring it up, Lou. Gen T is live too, y'all. Crash and burned.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Your host with the most returns.
I'm about, what, 20 minutes from the Erie Canal. It's not too far from here.
Anyway,
I live right on the Hudson River.
Incredibly dumb today. On a scale of 1 to 10 for being
Yeah,
dumb,
Tim,
it's
they're
probably
good questions.
a good 9.5. 9 3/4 stars. Dumb. And I'll tell you why. The reason I say it's dumb is no matter what I did, it never works. I started talking today to somebody that I've been having problems with on the internet for a while. Somebody that I talked to when I was Blind Justice, and they talked
As
to
it
me.
sucks when the stream is suddenly drops.
I blocked this person.
Kind of
Then
leaves you
when I
hanging
came back
though.
and I unblocked him, I was the salty rant. I sent this person in question some pictures. I asked them, can I send it to you? They are graphic in nature. And this person replied, hey, no problem, you're not going to scare me away, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turned out that I got attacked by someone else because of sending these pictures, and it turned into a whole big powder keg of drama. I don't want to revisit all that. I don't want to say the person's name. I don't want to reveal too much about them. Not that I have honor and dignity for this person, I don't want to rehash it. I'm bringing it to all of you because, well, there were instant messages on Facebook Messenger between me and this person. And they're pretty revealing.
Whose video is playing right now? The Salty Rant?
This person,
I crashed and burned.
all kinds of stuff. They asked, "Oh, are you a licensed gun owner?
Hey Beth, how you doing?
Does that happen? Oh, you're a danger, blah, 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 blah. You went ahead and threatened to kill yourself.
If you guys aren't subscribed to Salty Rant, go ahead and do it.
And, you know, I've already
He's a cool guy.
I don't really need to rehash it. If anyone's ever seen the videos, they know about it. And subsequently, as a result, because of that video, or the second round of that video, redemption.
Can you guys hear the Salty Rant's video alright?
I don't have, because when Blind Justice got taken down, all my videos got taken. Everyone knows the story. It's my story, it's the truth, and I'm going to stick with it. So, as a result, I got swatted at the house for welfare check. So I asked this
Check out the Salty Rant.
If I'm such a danger and I'm a bad guy, all the blah 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 that you're saying that I am, this and that. I said, why am I still a free man? And they said, oh, because the justice system works very, 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 very slow. Like, okay, you know, I was trying to find a point on why this
Super
person
shiny.
really
That's
hates
real
me.
hot in here.
I've never really done anything.
Been
to
to
this
Watertown,
person.
Buffalo. Great, dude. That's not too far from Buffalo is, but Watertown, not so bad. Couple hours.
You know. And like I said, you know, I can't get along with everyone, and I realize
we're about 15-20 minutes
trying to find a
north of Albany.
I could get along with this person. You know, I tried to understand from their point of view why it appears that they freaking hate me so much. Yeah, you guys thought I was going to drop an F-bomb. I'm getting better about that. And I tried to understand it from their point of view. Like, I know that I can grate people's nerves sometimes. I know that I'm annoying as hell. You know, and I know that I have a big mouth. These are all things I openly admit. But also, I know that when I give somebody my friendship, it's about giving them true loyalty. Unfortunately, that was the case with a former friend for several years. And that was the worst kind of person to be loyal to, because they never really appreciated my loyalty or my friendship.
So with that being said, Lou, always make sure that who you're talking to, you can actually trust. Friendship is always abused all the time. Some people only use friendship for their own profit. I have a couple friends that I grew up with that were like that. Hey Mike Jones, how you doing?
But again, let me not digress. It's not about all that. And I really tried to understand from their point of view, and was thinking, well, maybe I could do something to improve myself. Like maybe I can, I don't know, not be so, vulgar languaged, or vulgar in the way I talk about certain situations or people, whatever. But I learned.
Lou, if you weren't vulgar, you wouldn't be you.
Of correspondence back and forth, that no matter what I said, even if I agreed with them 100%.
I'm doing all right, Mike Jones. I was gonna go out tonight, but I decided to pour instead, so we're inside.
It would never work. And that's what I'm saying, guys. I got a headache now because of this bone spur and the throbbing pain in my head, and with it being hot out, and then trying to hash all this other craziness. But I tried my best to understand
family in Buffalo?
another person's perspective, and
I would love to go to Buffalo. That'd be a lot of fun. I heard the police out there are real bad.
Agreeing to disagree. This person has very strong feelings about me, and I believe personally, if they could erase me from history, kill me and get away with it, they probably would. And they wouldn't think bad about it, and they wouldn't think twice about it. And that's how I knew, okay, well, I'm in a dangerous arena here. Let me go ahead and end this, and then block this person again. Just like I haven't blocked on YouTube. blocked, banned, and muted, because it's just not worth trying to hash it out anymore. I want you to know that I tried to take the steps. I tried to understand, and either I'm just not really good at this sort of thing, or it's just not meant for me to understand other people that already have a very strong negative opinion about me. So with that being said, I just want you all to know that if someone is trash talking you or attacking you, you don't always have to attack back. I know it's human nature, and believe me, I have done this more times than I care to count. But if you don't attack back, eventually they will go away. They will give up. I'm not going to attack, but other people that I know have been attacked and are being attacked currently and may or may not talk about it on their channels. So basically, I treat people the way I want to be treated. It doesn't always work for me because not everyone respects me for whatever reason, whether it's personal or otherwise. So just remember, if you're being attacked, you don't always have to play that game. The better part of valor is to walk away and not engage. And that's what I'm learning. Someday, hopefully, I'll have that whole Sun Tzu, Art of War, Gandhi field theme going on, and I just be like water rolling off a duck's back. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate the support. And this is your host with the most for the Salty Rant, Lou Stefano, signing out. And just know we will get salty again. Take care, everybody.
Alright, that was Salty Rant. If you guys are not subscribed to him, go ahead and do it. And talk about with my situation with Time to Stand, where I got my strike. I know that he denied that he told me that I can post a video, and that's why he gave me a copyright strike. But it is what it is. I know that I have proof. And here, I'll show you guys actually the email that I was mentioning before. That's him sending me the video. He said, I'm asking you to take the videos down. Those are the ones that the Salty Rant's wife had made that I posted for him. And he said, if not, post this one. So he did tell me to post it. I did it, and he gave me a copyright strike for it. He said I stole his video. He put a claim on me, and that's how I got my strike. So really, you can't trust people. That's right, you have to starve the trolls. They feed off your pain. I'm lucky I don't have many trolls, and the ones I do, South Carolina News Upstate and Salty Rant, they take care of them for me. They do a good job. Time to Stand did that great. I had posted some videos that Salty Rant's wife had made explaining the whole situation and her take on it and her views, and Time to Stand didn't like it. So he told me if I wasn't willing to take them down to post his video. I posted it, and he gave me a copyright strike for it. But it is what it is. My copyright strike will go away in October 18th actually, so I'm not too worried about it. It's just something that I have to learn from. I just won't deal with Time to Stand anymore. Try to be better every day. Trying to make a difference. Sometimes though I wonder how much of a difference I'm really making. Lou, you make a big difference. That's why you're getting more subs. That's why you're not failing. Upstate, he did kind of stab me in the back. He asked me to put his information out, and I did it, and he gave me copyright for it. Mike Jones, she was very honest. She was honest, She told the truth, and she gave her thoughts and her views on it, which, her First Amendment right, that's what this is about. She had every right to express herself. She is a very nice lady. I don't hate on all trolls, Steven. Steven, you're always welcome. You do some good talks in here. Teresa Blackman, people call your name on YouTube? Well, sometimes you can't forgive, but you can always forget. Salty changes made by baby steps. If you can help one person, you'll never know how many people they help because of you. That is very true. That's why you always have to stay positive. And as long as you know what you're doing is the right thing, nobody can hate you for it. Even if they disagree with you about what you're doing, as long as it is the right thing and it is your perspective on things, how can they hate you for it? That's true, Upstate. The only way to make a difference is to be honest to one another and to have trust in others. I would love to meet Miss Salty. From her videos, I I think that she'd be a pretty cool lady to hang out with. She's very honest. She's open-minded, and she doesn't just take people's word for things. She needs the facts, which is exactly what you have to go off of. Falling Bomb, you have any questions for me? Or any comments? If you guys haven't done it, Dick and Roscoe show, pretty good. August 15th, support Miss Constitutional's live stream. Yeah, definitely. She she does a lot of good work too. She has a lot of good talks. She was mentioning stuff about the silver certificate dollars. That's something to look into. That money is actually backed by gold and silver, not these promissory notes. Sound Minds, a good info place. Yeah, definitely check out Sound Minds. Ethics Instead too. He's a real cool guy. Mia might just be lurking. She might be watching a movie. Actually, we had gone out with my brother, rented a movie before I started the stream. August 15th, Miss Constitutional, starring yours truly, SC, South Carolina News Upstate. Check it out. That is true, Stephen. They're not backed by precious metal anymore. But they came before a promissory note, and they were the dollar bills that were actually really backed by anything. There, I know that I have been talked about as being a sovereign citizen, but I don't view it that way. You can only be one or the other. You cannot be a sovereign if you are a citizen. You cannot be a citizen if you're a sovereign. The only real sovereign citizens are the police. They are the ones that believe that the laws don't apply to them. That's why they are protected through that blue line. Temporary for 50 years. Well, that's because they needed all that gold and silver to back the war on drugs and all these other so-called wars that they are declaring on anything you could think of for money revenue. It goes right back to Admiralty Maritime law. But if you know constitutional law and contracting law, you can hold the courts accountable. Look into the Uniform Commercial Codes. Painful trading gold or silver for yeah. I know. I would love to start buying up gold and silver as much as I can, even if it's just in the form of jewelry, because I believe that the economy will collapse, inflation will take over, and our dollars will be worth nothing. You'll need millions of dollars to buy a loaf of bread or a can of tuna fish. So these codes, right? These uniform commercial codes, these are what leads into the merchant laws, the laws of the sea, not the laws of the land. It is how they can declare you dead at sea, you're a savage, your birth certificate, your social security card. Those are like titles and tracking numbers for you. That's pretty much all they are. It's how the government keeps track of their assets. You, the citizen, they actually trade you on the open market. What they're doing is because they took all the gold, they blew all the gold, the government bankrupt, so they need something to trade. So you, being an asset to them, they issued you birth certificates at birth and social security cards so that they could track you. And by doing this, they are able to trade you yourself as collateral on the international stock markets. I'm surprised China hasn't come and start taking people yet. We owe China a lot of money. These uniform commercial codes, though, they go hand in hand with the contracting laws. If you understand them, you can trade your beliefs and anything that you feel that the court is right on. If you use them, you can change your contracts, your agreements with the courts. There's different sections, different code numbers, but if you study them, you can make it so any legal contract can work in your favor. I'm not a real expert on them, but I've studied them a little bit. I've looked into them. Uh, do your research. You can change contracts after they've been written, and if you go and you have a court clerk stamp it along with a judge's signature or before a judge's signature, the judge's signature doesn't actually mean anything. He's not the one with power in the court. It's a court clerk. The court clerks are the ones with the real power. Once they have that stamp that says that it is approved or that it is in fact what is going to be done, it cannot be changed. All right. Tell Black Label I said hi. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but he's a cool dude too. Check him out. He does a lot of good work. Stephen Tunis, I will say one thing. If you wonder why so much is legal these days, go reread the 13th Amendment. Spoiler alert, it didn't abolish slavery like you were taught. No, it did not abolish slavery. It in fact did not. What it actually did was it gave the government, the states, it gave them the right to enslave you. Once they deem that you have broken a law that they made up, that they created to fit their agenda for revenue generation, they can use you as slave labor. You become a warden of the state. Again, there's another form of slavery. Salty, sometimes you have to work the iron fist, but if your wife hits like a man, it's not the best thing to do. Another thing too, a lot of people don't know it, but if you do not get a birth certificate and social security card for your child, and you just get a regular, like a taxpayer ID number, like the immigrants and the illegal aliens do, the ones that do pay taxes, CPS cannot come and take your child because your child is not a warden of the state. They do not belong to the government. That birth certificate and that social security card, the tracking number, and their warehouse receipt, which is their birth certificate, that's what gives them power over you. You are essentially giving your children to the government, and you are just there to pay for everything for them. It's all prostitution. Some only cost once, some cost the rest of your life. It is, Lou. It is a lot of work and responsibility, but if you find the right one, it's worth it. Going back to the birth certificate, though, that it's essentially a warehouse receipt for your child. Your child was brought into the earth, so why should the government have any access to them, or the CPS be allowed to take them when they belong to you until they are 18 or until they are of age? The whole point of it is, if they didn't have the birth certificate, if they were not taking your children and issuing a receipt for them, then they wouldn't have collateral to trade on the international market. The United States, our economy would collapse, inflation would take over, and essentially everybody that did have a birth certificate would have to go to China or some other country that we owe money to, whether it would be part of the United Kingdom, whatnot. But that's all it is. It's a warehouse receipt. That's why it has live birth, which is the manufacturer, so to say, where you were born. That's pretty much where it was created. Think of like a toy. It says made in China on it. So they're telling you where you were made. And you have a receipt number, which is the little serial number on your birth certificate. A lot of people overlook it, but that also tells where you were born and all that fun stuff. Alright, good night, Joe. I don't know, it's just some things to think about. Do your research, look into it. A lot of people say that it is just sovereign propaganda, but it is not. It is fact. And if you talk to older generations, especially people that were born before the Depression and before the United States went bankrupt and started relying on other people and created this huge deficit, that they will tell you that there was no need for birth certificates. The way it used to be was the church knew where you were born, and they were the ones that held record. A lot of it was even written in family Bibles, and the reason behind that is the Bible, which when you go to court, you have to raise your hand and swear to tell the whole truth, so help you God. The Bible then was looked at as the law book. The commandments and whatnot, that is what common law is based off of. Also, common law not only is based off the Bible, but general consensus of what is right and wrong. Just look into it. There's a lot of information, a lot more than I can say in a YouTube video, but it's a lot to look into. And once you understand it, then you'll start understanding how the government is corrupt and how the government uses you as a pawn in their game when you have no idea what is going on behind scenes. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Well, this stream has been going now for about an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, great dude, look into it, dude. It's a lot, but even Ethics Instead, he could tell you about it. He knows a lot about this situation too and what's going on behind the scenes. I would love to talk to him about it too, do an interview or something with him. Yeah, South Carolina, I'd love to talk to you about it some more too, anytime. My email is upstatenyaudits@gmail.com. If anyone wants to talk more about it, shoot me an email. I'll try my best to answer. I get tons of emails all the time from different people, so it's kind of hard to sort them out, but I'll do my best, and I'd love to talk to anyone about any topic. Or, Salty Rant, he has my cell phone number too. So if you want to talk to me and he deems that you're respectable enough and you're not trying to troll me, I give him permission to give my number out. It's a lot of information, and it's really based on your own beliefs. When you come down to it, you can believe what you want to believe. There's there is a shadow government, as people call it, that exists. A lot of people don't believe it, but the shadow government isn't work. They are working on a new world order. That's what this gun control is about. I believe that the reason why they're doing all these gun control laws, like Florida now, if the state or the police deem that they think you are not stable, even without proof, they can come and take your guns now. It's all in the interest of safety, they say. But where does your Second Amendment come in? Look in the mirror 20 years ago? I'm 27, Brian. Yeah, Lou, my phone works. When I end the stream, though, I am going to go to bed. I have to get up early. But if you deem that somebody is respectful enough and honest enough to have my number, give it to them. I can always block a number. 51 on September 5th. Okay. Well, happy early birthday is coming up. It's just a lot of information, guys. The government, they lied to us. They are supposed to be working for us, but in fact, they believe that we should be working for them. That's why we are still slaves to them, and that is why they trade us on the open market. Like the Bureau of Land Management and all of that deal with the cattle herds and all of that. That land belongs to the people. If other people are not complaining that cattle are grazing in those fields, why should it matter? If they are not destroying the land and the land can regrow itself, why does it matter? Yeah, Lou, I'm going to end the stream in a minute. You can go ahead and give me a call. I'll talk to you for a minute. You know, to make this community stronger, we should all actually really pay attention to each other, watch each other's videos, support each other, like, subscribe, get the information out. It is about the First Amendment, so everybody's views and opinions and the way they express themselves will be different, but that is the whole point, that we do not have to be the same. We do not have to conform. It is our right to be different. That is why we are created, to be us and not be everybody else. if we were just like everybody else, do you think that the founding fathers would have gone against King George? Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people did not want to go against King George, and they wanted to continue to be a part of England. But England, they were already starting the taxation. They were already treating the people like they were property, and they were the slaves. That is the problem with monarchies. They don't work because people are not equal. Democracy is supposed to be about equality, and everybody has their fair share and their right to say what they have to say and express themselves. And that's what a free society is about. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. With that being said, I'm going to end this stream. Louis can go ahead and give me a call when it ends. You know I'll be glad to answer. When it ends, though, just give me a second so I can go in the other room and check on the baby and the wife. And go ahead and give me a call. It was a good talk. I do plan on getting out tomorrow night as long as it's not raining. If it is raining, we could come back and do the same thing. If you guys want, write down some things you want to talk about. 3% discount on your truck and van, Smith & Wesson too. That's right, Brian. 3% is all it takes. 3% can change the world. Remember that. Alright guys, you guys have a good night. Think about what I said. Like and subscribe, not only to me, to each other. Donations are appreciated, but they are never expected. My PayPal is Upstate NY Audits. I have a GoFundMe. It is www.gofundme.com/Upstate NY Auditing Fund. Anything helps. I do plan on traveling. It's just tough with funds and having a child on the way and a 2-year-old already, and my wife, she's a good stay-at-home mom, so I'm not trying to push her to work. I just went and got myself a second job. I should be starting now in the next week, so that will bring more money in. Plus the company that I'm running with my brother. So we'll see what happens. Monkey 83 was just jumped by 5 people in Lowell. I believe that happened once before too, didn't it? Check out Monkey 83 too. He's not too far from me. He's about 2.5, 3 hours away from me. I would love to go out with him too. I would love to go to Texas too. I would love to go to Texas. Even New Mexico. I have a buddy from the Army in New Mexico, and I really want to go see him. He's a real good dude. And he has the same views that I do, but he doesn't have a YouTube channel. He's not a big one to voice his opinion like that. He's more conservative in his voicing it, but we share the same views. Alright, I'm going to end the stream. You guys stay safe, have a good night, stay vigilant.